So then, welcome to the stream. Sorry it's a bit late. My OBS streaming software was given grief, and it's all due to me updating OBS, and the WebSocket that does the touch portal doesn't work anymore. So I've got to do it all by manual clicking today, so it's not a problem, but that's the reason for the lateness. So then, what we're going to do, I'm just going to go through a quick introduction to the flight. So we're only going a short distance, we're not going very far at all. East Midlands to Liverpool, and that's only because I'm quite familiar with East Midlands and quite familiar with Liverpool. So we're gonna stick with that today. And I'm basically going to give you a bit of an overview of this lovely, wonderful bird of the A2A B17 just released. We've got a nice repaint here. That's Sally B, the only, I don't know if it's true anymore, but it was the only airworthy, flyable B17 in the UK. So we're taking this lovely plane up tonight. So I've got real world weather, it's quite clear, so we're going to keep it at that. And we're going to do the full cold and dark startup. So the A2A planes all come with lovely things like this. So cold and start. So it's pretty cool when it's cold and start. What I'm also going to do is I'm also going just to bring up the manual just in case I forget some stuff, which we probably won't, but we can have a look. So let's enter the cabin. So here we go. I mean, they've got lots of static elements here, which is pretty good. It's been out for a while in FSX. Hey up, Rob. Hope you're well, mate. But yeah, we're gonna jump into this and we're gonna go for it. And for some reason, my map's not working, which is interesting. Oh, let me just have a look at my weather map. What I'll do is I'll shut down. This is the problem when you update your software. If you don't update anything, it gets broken. But I updated OBS thinking, oh, I'll update OBS. That'll be great. But now I kind of wish that I hadn't, because it doesn't seem to want to work. Let me just have a look, see if I can get the. Okay, that's interesting. Oh well. There we go. We got the map back up. Right. So let's jump into the cabin and let's get going. Right. The first thing you want to do is you want to open these. Right. You really want to open these. Hey up, Grumpy. Welcome on board. Then down here you've got some cabin heater. But you kind of want it on off or cold. Now this does help with the windows, so I always will stick it on cold. The next thing you want to do is check the fuel and the weight. So we've got this massive, let me just move that to the middle. This massive setup here. We don't really need to. You've got fuel presets, so you can do full there. You can use all the tanks, right? But what we're going to do is just do a light load today. You can even set bombs, which I've not done yet, so I might do that on a future stream. But this is just really a startup and a get to know. Then you're going to want to know, you can leave all this as default. The only reason why you want to mess with this is if you use these extra tanks and you kind of want to switch to these tanks specifically. So all these are just fed normally. You don't have to worry about these, but these extra tanks you have to switch. Easy one, fuel and oil. We'll just keep these same. So it's based on temperature, but for us, we're just going to leave it at 100 and 100. There's a few things there, and it's all detailed in the manual, but we'll just keep that as default. These we need to fill, make sure they're full. So we're not going high today, so we don't need the oxygen, but we filled it anyway. Extinguishers are full, just in case we get an engine fire. Engine oil, obviously top that up. Hydraulic fluid, so we need hydraulic fluid for the brakes, so we definitely need to do that. Heating fluid now. If it's cold, which it is in the East Midlands today, we might need to put the heater on hot, and then we can charge the batteries. But I think they're already charged anyway. So, because if the crew start moaning about hot being cold, you put that on hot down there. Right. So check the weights, check the fuel. Right. Now, what you've got to understand with this one is this plane is, even though you're the pilot, a lot of the engine management is done by the co-pilot in this plane. That's why we do all the flying and the electrics, and then the middle section is what's shared between the pilot and the co-pilot. So it might be that we need it, and they might need it, the co-pilot needs it for certain things. And all the other stuff over here is all to do with the engine management, which is to do with the co-pilot. So we can do that. So first things first is set the parking brake. Now, parking brake is this little button here, right? And we've just set it. So we've set the parking brake. That's good. Flaps and gear are neutral. So that's your gears, and that's the flaps, and that is at neutral. It's not up or down. Now this one's got a similar. It's one of them ones where if you press up, it goes up. Then you've got a neutral, and then you've got a down. We haven't got any batteries on at the moment, so that's not going to move. Right. Freedom of controls. So we need to unlock the controls. Now that's one unlock. For some reason, it doesn't like to move. Right, and there is another lock somewhere. There's one there. There you go, that's it. So we've unlocked that now. So that little floor thing down here is it's actually the rudder and elevator lock. At the moment we've got the tail wheel lock as well, and that's unlocked. And we do actually want that unlocked. So we'll leave that. Right. Check each battery separately. Now I've got a way of doing this, so let's excuse all the swapping and wrapping and walloping. So we've got an AC voltmeter here, and basically just want to go on. We want that on the inverter on normal, battery on we get volts, yeah. Battery on we get volts, and again, perfect. And then, just wallop all three of them on, winning, okay? Then you want the APU. Now the APU is done through this section here, so you just
yes, sir.
They'll get that APU started. Now that's a little engine in the back of the plane, and all that does is it's a generator that gives a small amount of power, just mainly used to get the main engines going. So we don't want to be clicking on lights because we'll kill that. You know, we won't be generating enough.
Cabin power's coming on.
Now, the next part is, can we see it from here? No, we can't see it from here. Right. So if we look down here, hydraulic pump, right? So we've got this hydraulic pump. It's on auto. Now, if the hydraulic pressure is less than 200, which it is, then having it on automatic won't do anything, which means you won't have brakes and stuff like that. Now, what you can do, you can be really mean and ask the co-pilot to pump this. I've never done this, by the way. I'm sure that was. I'm sure that's to do with the hydraulic pressures. Oh, am I just pumping something that we're not getting? It is, but what we'll do is we'll go back to the easy method. So what you do is you click this switch up to manual until you get the hydraulic pressure past 200. Then you can let go. And then what you'll see is it will go all up to the green, and that's where you want that. The engine start, which is good. Then we want to go over to this engine cut-off switches, which are these, and they've got a protective piece. Right. That should drop back into auto, once it's back into the green, which is good. And we want all these to be flipped. We want them to have the engine to be working. And what we'll do is we'll drop that down. Now the air filters is part of the the co-pilot. So what we'll do is we'll just click that on. Let the lights extinguish. Job's ready. Cabin heat off or cold. Well, we've got it on cold at the moment because of the windows. And then the master ignition switch, which is this big thing here, on. Now we've got power to the airplane, so we can just put the beacon on. Nothing else. We'll leave everything else off. Right. So engine start. This is where it's going to get fun. Right. So I'll do it as per the manual. But what you can do is you can basically set all the magnetos to both. You put all the mixture to put all the mixture to rich, which I'm going to do anyway. So you put that fully rich. Okay. I'm going to do the engines one at a time. And down here you've got some RPM levers. Okay, so the first engine we're going to start, and we've cracked the throttles. That's what we needed to do. Right, so engine number 3 we're going to start is to prime the engine. Each engine needs to have number 3 pump going. So we'll do number 3 first. Engine 3. Put the magnetos to both. Engine pump, fuel pump on. We will put the RPM for engine 3 to max. Now we need to swip over to the co-pilot. And the co-pilot has a primer switch down here, which we need to set to engine 3. And hopefully this works. So, engine 3, first of all you click start. And you wait a little bit and you can hear it kind of loading.
Clear prop!
And at the same time, shout out when the clear prop, because we're going to be starting one of the engines. And we give one shot of prime, and then we mesh it.
Engine 3 is starting
and
up.
then you want to just prime it a couple of times.
Oil pressure is coming up.
Prime that a couple of times. Make sure that the RPMs are above 1,000, which they are. Perfect. So, then we move on to the next engine, which is engine number 4. Yeah, 4. First of all though, what we need to do is put on the generator. So that, get down to here. Generator for 3. So we've got a generator now. Generator power. We're going to do number 4. Okay, so same thing. Oops, always click the wrong bloody button. Engine number 4.
Clear prop. Engine 4 is starting up. Oil pressure is coming up.
So these buttons, these switches, sorry, they reset once the engine's started. Now, what we want to look at here is, this is the, actually, sorry, I can't see it. Right, so these two here is the cylinder head temperatures, and that's the oil temperatures. And this is the carb air temperature. And if this gets too cold, is it that? Yeah, I think if this goes too cold, you can put these to hot, and if these go too hot, put to cold. For today's flight, we're not going to concentrate on that. We're going to get the crew to do what they are paid to do. Right, let's move on to engine number. So we've got to do number 1 now. First of all, let's just jump back into this. We did 4 there. 4 is on. So engine number 1. Let's talk through this now, but Right, engine 1. Right, engine 2. Last engine to go. I do that every time. I should do a shortcut button between the two things. Really, I should.
Clear prop.
Engine 2 starting.
Right, so engine
Oil
2
pressure is
on.
coming up.
We can now put that back to off. Everything's looking good so far. The only other thing I'll do is basically set the cowl flaps to open, so we're now on the ground, and I'm going to move the mixture to auto rich. Is that auto rich then? Yeah, it was. Sorry, that was auto rich. It was the shadow that was putting me off. Anyway, that's done now. Right, so that's good. Got the engines going. And what we can do now is just slide these windows just to get some power. There we go, right. So, this is where we can now get rid of the A2A.
I'm on it, Captain.
Now, we'll put some lights on. So I'm going to put the pitot heat on. We're going to have position lights, and that'll move them now. We don't want formation lights. The only other one we want is the landing lights. Right, so I never use these, but I could. Anyway, so this here, I'm going to talk through this now. So this, as you've got a manifold pressure, what this does is it kind of auto does like regulates your manifold. So if you set this to say 0, you put full throttles. What it does is it will limit the amount of manifold pressure you can have with full throttles. If you put it to like 8, it will give you all the way up to the max, you know. And if you give it to 10, it kind of overdoes it, which is good for the engines, but isn't for normal use. So pretty much for takeoff, it's an 8. For climb, it's anywhere between 4 and 6. And cruise, I'll have to look at the manual again. I think it's about 3, 2, whatever, down there. So yeah. So we'll have a look at that. Let's just set that up like that. Right. Then you see it's all warming up quite nicely. Now the next thing I want to do is as part of the, now that we've set the engine, what we're going to do is we're going to get the co-pilot to actually look after the
I got him,
cowl
Captain.
flaps and intercoolers. We'll get him to do the work. You know, why not? And then we've just got to let this warm up. So we'll let this. It shouldn't be too long now because they're all very much close. Tail wheels unlocked. Let's have a little look outside. Look at that. Now the one issue I do have is the taxi. The taxi for me doesn't seem to work very well. It seems like there's too much friction. So I need a lot of manifold pressure to even get it moving, even at maximum RPMs. So it's very interesting. But we should get a notification when we're almost ready to go. So we'll wait for that for the time being. We've got strobe lights here, so when we get to the point of the runway, we'll put the strobes on, and we'll just put the landing lights on because we're in the taxi, so that's fine. give it a few minutes just to warm up. So the next thing we need to look at is the compass. Okay, so we're facing south. And this is the radio compass. So we've got ADF. Just go up to here. We've got an ADF radio here, and what we can do is we can tune it in. That will give you the strength of that, and it will also change the compass. Now we're not using that today because instead we're going to use the trusty map, and we've got our direction plotted. I'm also going to use the nav map as well, just because. But what I found, because it only uses NDV radio beacons, to get from one to another, it's really difficult because they're not closely spaced. They go out of range and stuff, so it's a bit of hit and miss. I'd rather just do a bit of GPS for this flight. Maybe in the future we'll do that. Now I'm kind of looking at this one, thinking, hurry up and heat up, because all the others are such a fine. I think I might just start our taxi, and then we can head out. Right, so parking brake. Let's turn the parking brake off. What we do is we'll just pump the brakes a little bit. And now we'll just do the push back. This here is the fuel, so you can see that the needle is full, and these are all the main tanks, so they're all full. We're not using these anyway. Yeah, they're all full. And we get really quite far out to the line, then we'll start our taxi now. The winds at East Midlands were 290, so the active runway is 27. Which is, so we've got to go to the right, so we've got to go that way, so that we're flying that way. Right, okay, get up to the line now. So what we'll do is we'll stop it around about there, stop the push back, tap the brakes slightly. I thought I stopped the push back, but obviously didn't. Right, so this uses differential braking, so you've got to basically use your pedals independently, as well as engines as well. So because we want to go right, we need to thumb the left engines, hold on to the, get it moving slightly. Okay. See what I mean? It's like it doesn't want to. And when it gets really needs a lot of manifolds to get going. I'll just use a little bit of brakes. Just spin all the way around. We've got like a lot of manifold pressure right there just to get this thing going. I don't know whether that's just an issue. I'm happy with it. Right, now the nose is quite slightly up, so we've got to. like doing it because it makes a horrible noise, and likewise, it's not very. We've got some speed going on now, so we need to start backing that down a touch. I've just touched the brakes a little bit. We are going to go around the corner. Just take the moment. I can't see past that corner, so let's just there we go. Come in this side. Hopefully now, as the pilot, we should be able to. Let's just tap the brakes. We want to put the strobes on. We've got the landing lights on. Ready? Let's go on to the now. Remember when I said this? We need this on the photo. We haven't done a ground test, which we should have done, but I'm going to basically not do a ground test. I went a bit too far then. My bad. Right, let's go. Let's try and line it up a little better. Don't stop on me. Hold it there. And then we'll go down that way. Right. So what we do now is we will go full throttle, and then when we go we'll raise the landing gear, and then we'll keep climbing, do a turn towards Liverpool, which is on the opposite direction. So there we go. So we'll throttle up. Actually, big mistake. Lock the tail wheel. That has to be locked. We'll go full throttles. For some reason the cruise not too.
110.
Oh yeah, there.
120. 130. 140.
Now we are going up, so what we need to do now is get the landing gear up. It takes quite a while for the landing gear to work.
150.
I don't know why it takes such a long time for landing gear to work. But it does. So
The tail wheel is up.
we're going to do a turn to the left instead of the right.
140. Main wheels are up.
So all the wheels are up. Put that back in control. And we're on the move. So that was from cold and dark, and we're kind of going on now. So the climb. Power settings at 38 manifold pressure, so we're not far off there actually. The RPM's the co-pilot, handle it. Get past this power station. We'll keep climbing. About 500 feet. Thereabouts. Checking, I mean, co-pilot's going to be working on this over here. We can have a look at the, make sure there's hydraulic pressure, things like that. We're good to go. We're going to go up to about 4,000 feet. And then we'll start level flights. So, where we tinker around with this. One between 4 and 6, I think it is. Lower it down. 3 to 4. Should be able to full throttle, but that'll keep us going.
Captain, you trying to freeze the guys in the back so he's on the radio.
Oh, so we're gonna turn the heater on. It's cold in the back. I told you it was cold in this one. Right, so we are on. We've still got to do a turn. Yeah, I'm manually flying this thing. Look at the autopilot maybe because I don't like it. That's the only reason why. This has got quite a big turning radius, which when it comes down to trying to approach the runway, I'm useless. So taking off, starting off, great. Flying, not too bad. But the actual landing, prepping, doing the final turn, I'm absolutely rubbish at it. So it's something I can practice, it's something I can practice doing. Right, let's have a look at this autopilot. So shift and 9 will bring up the autopilot. Now, this one's the old style one. You can actually change it just to be. I don't know if I can do it actually in mid-flight, but if I do FS autopilot and then press F9, there it is. So it's actually down here. So you've got the old FS, and you can obviously set that to. Set it to volts. I'm not sure about heavy. I don't know whether that would be a heavy. I don't know how you use it. Oh no, I don't know how you set the heavy. But anyway, you won't do heavy. So this here, you'll get this compass. It's basically saying that we're going in that direction. So this is the modern day one. So we'll just be sat there all day long. Great. Let's go off of that and let's go back into shift 3. Let's get to the old style one. Right. Now this one is the more realistic one. So what we do is just set all these to on, and what you've got to do, what I tend to do, is you set these to on as well. And you kind of got to just twist this until you get it to this level, and you can use the lights on it as well. this to turn. So you are meant to do some other bits involved in this bit. Stops these lights. Most of the damage is a little bit still behind the line. Track that. We're going in the general direction we want to go, so turn it off. Some few things here that I want to have a look at, which I haven't had a chance to do yet. And that's a whole PDI. I don't know what that means. And the head mod you can turn on. You can actually do a head mod. But at the moment, it's just a left and a right. Let's go to the navigation side. I do something a bit confusing there, but we're on the way. Just capture all the image, so I'm sorry it pauses it, but I want you to get a screenshot. Absolutely superb. Right, let's get back onto shifting line because we're to line now, so I'm kind of hoping that when we while we're flying, the crew will ask us to tell us something. I'm not going to spoil it because I want it to happen. On every flight that I've done, it's happened, so now that autopilot, that one, is actually held just down here. Now when I manually fly, this is where I'm setting the RPMs, but I'm not doing that today. If we just scroll down and touch here, it's actually down here. And you can do it down here, but you can't see where you go. So I like just to right, this turns to the right a little bit. So there's our nose. It's just right on. So if you do it all the way, I think that does a standard. So.
Captain, this heat is pretty strong. Can we open a window?
Now at the moment the two different parts, so always motion, you just can't, can't win. Can't win. So as I say, you have got the easy option of shift and F5, wherever that centre point is where you're heading. That's where you're heading. But I'd like to use the nav map as well. I don't know if I've got the nav map. So yeah, so I've got it all tracked out there. I'm kind of following that line. Let's say my touch portal has stopped working, so unfortunately for me, I've got to do it manually. The other good thing that you can do is in here you turn on the headphones. It kind of gets rid of that engine noise slightly. So slightly. Go really high, you have to put on your oxygen, and that's got like all this stuff around here, and there's only a limited amount of oxygen as well. So everything gets done in here, and then there's nothing around the back apart from obviously the guns. So while we're just cruising now, let's just have a quick look around the plane, have a little closer look. It's got amazing engines, landing lights, Sally V. Mr. Gunner 1 over here, look. A couple of guns on either side there. Gunner up top. Gunner down below, gunner on the side, gunner in the back. And if we go underneath, got some amazing detail work on the gears and everything. Some big bomb balls, bomb bagels. Skip past there we go. Right. So you can order your crew to open the bomb doors. You've got bombs in there. You can drop the payloads. So you can do that. You can drop the payload in there, which I haven't. Yeah, you can do that. We're just going for a casual flight, so we're just it's a shame. I was hoping the crew would say, "Oh, we picked up a radio station," and then what you have to do, you have to go and turn this knob down here, turn this, and you get all the old World War like announcements that you've got, like Churchill speeches. You've got old timer music, you know, from the era. You've got I had one where it was Hitler or someone giving a speech in German. And that was just like, what? It's mad. It's really mad. We get to the front of it, it's going to be mad. Now, what I didn't do was set the mixture to auto lean. This is where it gets picked up some clouds, so we're going kind of half through some clouds. It's probably a better screenshot. Wow. It's weird. So it kind of started out of sense a little bit. Interesting. It looks like the tail wheels are not locked. I've got it locked. Oh, it is locked, but it's just not down, so that's why that's not on. That's here. Right.
Captain, you might like it cold, but our guys in the back are freezing.
Moaning again about the tea. Maybe I have to use this shift 2. Shift 2. So cabin is cold. So if we was to heat it up, that should be steady, and then we can then see. Turn the heater off. I'm still kind of getting used to that. We're getting some clouds and stuff at the moment. And the one thing I didn't do actually, I didn't set the altimeter, so I'm just kind of looking at this one. 3,000 feet, we'll stay at 3,000. I forgot to do the altimeter, that's not very good. It is what it is. But you just get your altimeter read and turn it on. So we are getting some clouds. I'm hoping that it clears up before we get to Liverpool. Yeah, I think we're just going through a bit of a section by looking at the weather map. We're just going through a little bit of a section at the moment. Head out. Plan inside of that. It's a bit scary, a bit apocalyptic. Scoping up on the manual. When we come to approach the manual.
Captain, we have something on the radio for you.
Oh, check this out. We've got something on the radio. Right. Put it on this. So cool. Right, so let's go landing. So approaching landing, we need to go auto reach. We need to set this to 8, which means we are going to need to throttle back the manifold pressure quite a lot in terms of the throttles. We're going to be landing at Liverpool. The winds are actually variable, so we're going to land on runway 27. So we're going to switch this off now and fly the rest of the way. Air filters need to be on, so they were already on anyway, so that's okay. Brakes, they seem to be okay. They're free of movement. We've also got hydraulic pressure 600 to 8. So I think that is right, so 5, 6 to 8. So yeah, we've got brakes there. Push the brakes a couple of times, get the pressure increased a little bit. And we're looking for 150, 147-ish to lower the flaps. The landing gear takes a long time, so what we need to start looking at now is actually slowing down. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to slowly turn to the, I'm going to turn to the right, and we'll then turn. Definitely don't want to go up, I want to go down. Now I'm going to set the manifold pressure to 20, 2 zeros again. Start descending. But I can't see how, in terms of the landing gear, I can't see the landing gear speed. It doesn't say, it's somewhere else in the manual, the bit that I'm not looking at. Right. To go yet. I kind of just want to show you something. I don't know if it's going to work, but let's pause the sim for a moment. Let's just pause the sim for a moment. Let's have a look at. I just want to show you something, just because it's popped up and I think it's fascinating. So we've got Liverpool NDB. Forget the O's. We've got the Liverpool NDB, right? 349.5, right? Now, if I was to go to this, now this is the radio, right? And unfortunately we can't do it while we're paused. Oop, 1 minute. This is the radio, so we can't do it while we're paused. So we've got to unpause. Unpause. And then we choose the range, so 349 is in that range. And then you choose this, right? Something like that, right? Now the issue you get is you can't see what that is, right? So what you can do is you press F6, Shift and 6, sorry, and then you can tune it manually from there. So we'll be tuning this one, so we'll get to that, which is 349. See that compass there? So that's picked it up. And what's interesting, we need to start turning our approach. We've got the signal. Yeah. So I just want to show you that. Now we're going to put landing gear down. And we're also going to do some flaps soon. So we do need to start descending or not. Kind of doing a pretty steep turn.
The tail wheel is down.
So we've got the wheel down. What we're going to do is we're also going to drop the flaps. Now that's the
All
flaps
main
there.
wheels are confirmed down. 130.
Okay, this isn't a bad approach actually. I know we're really steep at the moment. Oh no, not steep, we're in the standard turn, but we're nowhere near the runway.
120. Flaps down.
Set that back to neutral. Very low. So everything else is good to go. I'm going to keep it level for a minute because we've got the runway inside. Not actually level with my head, so I need to start looking at that. So when my heading is 27. So that would help. So back to 27. 7. You can. Landing gear down, mixture full, auto rich action. And down we go. Taxiways are, so we need to help about. Oh, there was one. Damn it.
Captain, we're idling a bit low.
I know we're idling a bit low, my friend, because I'm just going to cut the corner. Just cut the corner here. Liverpool. This plane's meant to be on grass, so. Off the runway, so drones can go off. Just gonna put the corner a little bit, just gonna go dump it over here, which should be close to some property. Slow this down a touch. And then that's that. Now we want to keep the engines above 1,000 so that the plugs don't foul. Put that on neutral now. So go back to the co-pilot, put parking brake on. We also want to turn off the landing lights, which are there. Also turn on position lights. And now we kind of want to crack on the APU.
Runway, sir.
Oh, I took my headphones off as well. So at this point, to shut down, we will basically take the mixtures to idle, false to idle, mixtures to the top. Okay, and then that's that.
Captain, electrics are coming online.
And then we can just start turning all these things. Whoops. Reset that back to 0 just for safety. Turn the master ignition off. We also turn all the fuel pumps off now. There we go. I think that was almost everything. To drop these down. Oh, it's because the what do you call it? The guy, co-pilot's sorting out the that side of things. Right, so we're fully shut down.
Yes, sir.
We'll just turn that guy off and then turn the batteries off as well. And that is it. We are fully shut down Liverpool. You know, we didn't do radio navigation or anything like that, but and we can move that off. There you go. So we managed to get from Liverpool. One thing I did notice was we didn't lock the controls, so that should be okay now. Cool. So yeah, that's us. Oh, Phil, I'm just about to leave. But that was it. That was a good flight. We didn't do any radio navigation. I showed you the NDB, how to tune the NDB, which isn't very accurate. You can't actually see what you're tuning. It's more that strength indicator that isn't really handy if you're trying to do it on the quite fast. So using the radio panel, 2D panel is quite helpful there. But everything else, we did start up, did a flight, we did shutdown. We didn't control all the elements because we didn't look at the cowl flaps with the on the seats, but we didn't look at the cowl flaps in terms of these temperatures while we're flying. But pretty much the cinder head temperatures for 1 and 2, 3 and 4, I believe. You know, you've just got to keep it in that green arc, and by flicking these switches. And then you've also got the intercooler temperatures, which you're looking at. I don't know, I'm sure it's just these here. Was it that one? Could be that. No, it's that one because that's oil. It's this one here. Yeah. So yeah, so yeah. Well, we didn't look at that, but you know that's why you have a crew, and that was it. So I hope you enjoyed the flight. I hope you enjoyed the startup and learning how to start her up. I sure did. The one thing I have noticed is for some reason you've still got lights on. Oh, and all the generators are on as well. So, oh, didn't say we got lights on. But just for completeness, we are gonna turn the generators off. There we go. Cool. Well, I really enjoyed myself. And thanks for joining and catching up on YouTube. Don't forget, if you don't forget to subscribe to the channel, help the channel grow. Really appreciate that. I'm really trying to grow my YouTube channel to match up on Twitch, so hopefully that'll be the way. Once again, apologies for the delay in starting up. I had some issues with my OBS streaming software and the plugin that it uses. Hopefully they'll update that and I can get my touch port to work again. If not, I'll go back to a previous version of OBS, but we'll see. All in all, have a great new year if I don't see you before then, which I don't think I will now. No, I definitely won't. But have a great new year and drink plenty and be merry, and don't let this COVID get you down. Take care all. See you later. Bye.